Hey guys, this is CG Stuff. We're back with Animate Pro, and we're going to explain a bit the tools section. So here I'm going to skip these three tools for now because the thing about Animate Pro is that a lot of the tools that you see are grayed out. What does that mean? That just means that I'm in the dope sheet and it's just telling you that you cannot use it here. You just need to switch to a different context. That context being the graph editor. So right here, if I switch to the graph editor, let me close here. That just means that I can use them now. It's as simple as that. Anywho, we're gonna skip these for now. Let's start with the first tool that I can use. AnimatePro is this tool that allows you to loop a non-loopable animation. Obviously, in this situation, it's a punch. A punch is a play once animation. So in this situation, I personally necessarily don't want to loop this animation. However, if you look at the graph editor and click all of these keys, AnimatePro will automatically just makes the first keyframe, duplicates it, and that's pretty much what it does. Now, this is a simple animation. It's not very complex, but however, if I just click AnimatePro, that's pretty much what it does. It will loop the animation. And it's very cool for, let's say, if you have like a walk cycle and like a frame is missing, and sometimes in a walk cycle, like if you have like something like this or something like this, it will just fix it for you. You know what I mean? However, let's say again you do have a walk cycle, and keep in mind that what AnimatePro will do is that it will take your first frame and match it as best it can to the last frame. So if you have like a frame behind on the negative frame, watch what will happen. See? Because I have space, this will happen. So if your first frame is like, let's say, a motion that you just have like, or a T-pose or something, you have to be careful because usually you would want to store your T-pose in a negative frame. So you have to be careful of that. So yeah, just something to keep in mind when working with the AnimatePro. Another tool is the time warp. So let's say I have this cube punching animation, and I want to, let's say, adjust the timing. Sure, right now I'm just blocking. It's not very complex, and this might work better for mocap, as I'm about to show you. Mocap, as in, let's say, right now my keyframes are just simple, and all I can do, let's say, to make the anticipation like faster. So maybe all I have to do is this. Sure. Okay, very simple. But let's assume that it's not as simple, because let's just say I've baked my animation. I'm just gonna bake my animation for a second. Let's say 25. All right, cool. Right now it's not as simple anymore, because if I want to let's say adjust the timing, I'm gonna have to go over every keys and adjust them. That's gonna be a headache. So what I do basically, I enter this mode and then I start adding pins. It's kind of like editing software like DaVinci Resolve or Premiere, right? So over here, like if you press the H, by default it's gonna be hidden. So if I press H, it tells me like it gives me this help menu. If I press Alt H where the mouse is hovered, it starts adding a pin, right? So, and to clear the pins, I just press Alt X. However, if I want to add a pin on the playhead, I press Alt A, and let's say I want to add a pin over here. Let's say Alt A, and now what I do basically, I start expanding it. Basically, I'm doing the opposite. Now I want my anticipation to be slower, and now I have this, this punchy feeling. And same thing, if I want, like, let's say the punch to be faster, I add Alt A and then like make it do that. So yeah, it's as simple as that. Here's the thing. I'm gonna press enter and confirm, but I'm gonna go back in time before I bake the animation. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's pretty much what the time warp is. It's very useful if you have mocap data, let's say you got from Mixamo or from Rococo, or if you baked your animation and if you want to retime it, post blocking. Okay. This next one, animation time blocker, is while you're blocking, because right now, if I want to, let's say, adjust the timing, it's very simple for me to do that. However, if I'm in the graph editor, look at how the animation blocker got activated. What does this mean? The thing that I'm doing in the dope sheet, I can do now in the graph editor. Because here's the thing: if I want to do that, I'm gonna have to select all those keys, do this. I'm gonna have to select all those keys, do this, and sometimes gonna have to. I can miss a few of them. So what I do is click this, and all the keys, since they're like barely a few of them, all the keys on the correct time, now I can just do them. I can just like adjust them. It's very intuitive. That's pretty much it. It's the difference is that one is in the graph editor. Let me just reset. Yeah. One is in the graph editor and one is in the dope sheet, because again, I can do all of these things in the dope sheet, and the other is in the graph editor. The cool thing though is that both of these is, if you do this, it's telling you that, let's say you want to do let's say ripple edit, like an editing software. You can press shift, and now you can basically adjust everything in front of this key. You know what I mean? Instead of having to drag everything in the dope sheet. So now I can just do this, do that, do this. It's pretty cool and very intuitive. So yeah, I'm gonna again shift, undo. So yeah, this is why this tool is very efficient. Now let's go move on to the next one, Anim Shifter. Now Anim Shifter is very nice. Let's say I want to, after this anticipation, I want to have like a small hold. So what this does is basically I click on Anim Shifter and say I want to have a hold of 4 frames. I click OK, and now this is going to hold for 4 frames and then punch. However, after I do this, I just, let's say, do like a, let's say something like this, and then key. So it's going to hold and then punch. You know what I mean? Very simple. Instead of me, let's say, having to duplicate, move these, having to duplicate this frame, and having to do this, right? With Anim Shifter, I can just like say, you know what, I want to shift maybe like, let's say 6 frames, do this, and just like adjust this frame to do a small moving hold. Pretty much. Very cool stuff. Maybe like move it back. Anywho, yeah, let's move on to the next. Now, Anim Slicer is amazing when it comes to, let's say, I like to call it unbaking. Obviously, like it has many uses. But right now, let's again bake our animation. I'm gonna bake it, and now, all right, my bad. Bake it to 25, sure. Right. If I go to the graph editor, you can see that this is a very, very annoying to work with. So what Anim Slicer does is I can click on it, and then it's telling me what is your frame step, how much do you want to leave between the keys. So let's leave it at 5, and when I click on it, you can see that I've essentially unbaked my animation with between 5 frames. Basically, you have like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Maybe for me it's not good, so I want to, let's say, put 4 or 3, because let's go crazy. Let's go 10 and do this. The animation doesn't make sense anymore. You know what I mean? Like you can like put 20 frame step, and you'll essentially destroy your animation. So you have to anim slice it in a way that makes sense. For me, I'm gonna put 4, and I've essentially unbaked my animation. Okay. So yeah, notice that the small nuances get lost here. So potentially you might have to choose a specific number when it comes to anim slicing your animation. So let's say, yeah, there you go. See, 3 was a good number. But now I've recovered now I can play with my animation and my curves as if I'm still blocking. I don't get the noise of a baked animation, pretty much. And pretty much this is it. The last tool before we go into these, because I'm gonna keep my animation baked for these. The last tool is Anim Play Blast, and Anim Play Blast is essentially just as it is. It's just a play blast of my animation. I'm just gonna keep my timeline to 25 frames, right? So if I want to just preview this animation, I can just go here and click on Play Blast. Play Blast gives me 2 options. It gives me like automatic, which is basically like where I am from the viewport. So let's say I want to take a shot from here. So I click auto and I just click OK. And right now, after a Play Blast, it opens up the player from, it's not here, yeah. It opens up the player, my default player from Windows. Let me do it again. Yeah, there we go. And I can preview it using my default Windows player, the one that I chose from Windows. If I do it from the camera, it will do the same thing, and I can preview it, play it. Yeah, cool stuff. And again, it's rendering from what I see in the viewport, so I can disable overlays, I can pick matte caps, I can do whatever I want. And now if I render again, this is what I see. Basically, what you see is what you get. It's a very cool tool. You can also like choose the resolution. Right now I'm rendering at half resolution, that's why it's very fast. But yeah, you can go crazy with it. Let's see these other tools, the anim sculpting and the anim lattice. In animbot, these tools are a thing, but in Blender, this is the only, Animate Pro is the only thing that provides these tools, which are very essential for manipulating your keyframes like clay, if you will. So when you press the Y, by default you're not gonna have this, but if you go to edit, if you just install the add-on just fresh, you're just gonna go to key maps and enable these. So if you enable graph anim tool, you will have essentially the shortcut for anim sculpt, which is basically just clicking this. But by pressing Y, you also have anim sculpt, and you can just pretty much play with your keyframes as if you're sculpting them. So yeah. So it also gives you, like, again, if you press help, it gives you like the shortcuts of what to press. So let's say R is increasing the radius. Over here, like, let's say Control is increasing the intensity of the sculpting tool. Shift and middle mouse, I'm adjusting middle mouse, is the outer radius. So yeah, so if I were to sculpt with like a lower intensity, I'd be like, you know, it's as if I'm playing with proportional editing, but without actually using proportional editing. It's so intuitive. So let's say I just like want to have something like this, and I press enter. So now, let's increase it more. My rotation is gonna be like even more intense just by doing this. Okay. So now the rotation is just like a bit more intense. Let's say, you know what, I want to like play around with it more, but I want to have a different tool. So I click on anim lattice while I have these selected, because anim lattice works on the current keyframe selection. So I click, and now I have something like this. It's pretty much a lattice. And now I can just, you know what, make it more intense. So you can see now that the rotation on the on this axis is more intense, and I just confirm. And yeah, pretty much it's very cool. Here's the thing: you have a different mode when it comes to lattice. You have the warping lattice. Basically, you can click on it, and now you can like start adjusting it like this, kind of like the Photoshop warp tool. So I want to confirm, and after that, you can see that it slices the animation, making it like kind of like smoother, as opposed to the default Blender Baker, because the Blender Baker has this linear interpolation. So I'm gonna like press, and yeah, and essentially these are all the tools, and I recommend you guys experiment with them if you got Animate Pro Forge, because they're very cool, and it just makes your workflow so much faster. Anyway, that's pretty much it, and see you guys.